So if you've been following the news or if you've been seeing this all across social media, a really big hot topic right now is the Epstein files. And maybe you're wondering, as a Christian and maybe as an American citizen, how much should you care about this? In today's video, I'm going to talk about that, so stick around. So this past week was a really interesting one because, well, one, my two babies were both sick throughout this whole week, and so I spent a little bit more time at home taking care of them together with my wife. Along with that, whenever I could, I was doing some research, and a lot of that research was centered around these Epstein files and what's in the Epstein files and what are the conspiracy theories, like what are the speculations. The reason why I think I spent so much time as well is just because it's really hard. It's really actually difficult to determine what the truth is. Now, my theory on this, and I want to be clear, there's a lot of theories that everybody has surrounding all of this, and that's what the majority is, unfortunately. It's just a lot of theories about what we're seeing, what's in the files, and then we try to come to some kind of conclusion. But really what that conclusion is, or how we got there, was by a theory or a series of theories, right? And so one of my theories is actually, the amount of files and the amount of information that has been put out there. Well, it's already been combed through by at least two different government agencies, the FBI as well as the DOJ. And so what that tells us, what it should tell us anyway, is that to some degree, what's been put out there is very highly curated. I do think there was obviously some massive mistakes that were made. I believe in one case, the names of some of the victims were actually not redacted when they should have been. And then a lot of areas where it seems as though this is not a victim that's being discussed, it is redacted. But either way, what you have to be able to believe is that the government doesn't do things in short by mistake. They do things methodically. They do things after many discussions and meetings and planning. And there's a ton of people that go into these kinds of things. And so my theory is personally that they know exactly what's in the files that they've put out there to the public, and they're not worried about it. They're not worried about what we're going to find or uncover because they've already come through it exhaustively, right? And so the first thing I want to say is this: be careful with the amount of theorizing and speculating that you do. Now, unfortunately, that's not entirely your fault or our fault as citizens or people living in this land, because again, what we were given it's very confusing, and there's enough kind of breadcrumbs in there of maybe that will lead us to the truth, but maybe it's a dead end. Like the whole thing with maybe what's the most viral thing right now is these code words that were used, whether that be pizza or jerky or some kind of cheese, and it seems to really be talking about something horrific. And I pray to God that it's not, but it might be. Again, the government, they've combed through all of this. And if they were willing to redact a bunch of stuff that they weren't supposed to redact, you have to tell yourself and you have to think through, like, why would they leave these little breadcrumbs in there? Is that by mistake or is that by design? Is that really, it's because they thought that either it's truly nothing, which it very well could be truly nothing, or they felt as though maybe this is a good distraction. And so that's actually a thought that you have to have as well. And so it makes this whole thing difficult at the end of the day. There are some things that are conclusively bad. I believe some of the co-conspirators, they were uncovered. At least one of them is a very high profile person in Dubai. I do believe there's been a few other people that have been named here in America, some very powerful people. Now, it doesn't actually say in the files what exactly these people did. And so we have to even be careful with that. It's just the unfortunate nature of this whole thing. We have to be very careful. We have to be a people that learn how to do what Paul outlines in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, which says, "Do not despise prophecies, but test everything and hold fast what is good." So in short, what Paul is getting at here is don't just simply despise the prophecy because you think it's not true or it's not truly from God. You actually have to examine it, right? You have to actually examine, well, who was the one that gave the prophecy? Is the prophecy plausible in any way? Do we see how God would actually want this thing to come true and how it would bring him glory. Like, we actually have to test it. We actually have to dissect it. And then I guess, of course, when it comes to prophecy afterwards, did it come true or not? And that's a very simple way to know if it was a true prophecy or not. We can apply the same principle to so many things in life. Like, we have to actually test it. We have to dissect it. We have to study it. But even that, I would say, to a degree, because you can only study what you're given. Like, you can only study as much evidence as there, and you can only go so far sometimes with certain things. And so far, I would say the Epstein files is that, for the most part. We don't know. There's so much redacted. There's so much ambiguity. It's not clear. And so we have to be, where something is unclear, we also have to land in an unclear place. Now, we can have our speculations and our theories, and we can feel a certain way about it. That's totally normal, and it's a part of this process, I would say. But in terms of what you're going to actually stand on as the truth, what you're going to proclaim, what you're going to be convicted of at the end of the day, it cannot be about something that's actually not clear, right? And so I want to caution you, leave you with one more verse from Titus 3:9, which says, "But avoid foolish controversies, genealogies, dissensions, and quarrels about the law, for they are unprofitable and worthless." Without explaining too much about the context of this verse, there is a simple principle that we could apply here. It's just, there's a lot of rabbit holes we can go down. There's a lot of discussions and arguments that we could have. But at the end of the day, if it's not fruitful, if it's not going to build you up or build up the church, then it's probably going to be something that you're going to want to avoid. Because all of us, we can spend a lot of time on this. And this past week, I spent probably a little bit too much time doing my research and looking into it and kind of entertaining some of the ideas. But I feel pretty good about where I'm landing right now. It's just simply that a lot of this is very unclear, and I wish I could make some conclusions. And if it's true that people like even President Trump are actually implicated or actually guilty of the crime, especially of doing some terrible, terrible things with minors, I would say 100%. If it's true, him and anyone else that is guilty of this crime, they deserve to go to jail for the rest of their life, if not more than that. But at the end of the day, it's not clear. And we have to be careful to not say something is clear when it's actually not. We have to be lovers of truth. We have to be a people of truth. We follow Jesus, who is the way, the truth, and the life. We cannot be a people who spread misinformation or falsehoods, and we shouldn't want to risk that. Now, again, we can have speculations and all this, and that's okay. But you can't stand on your speculation. You can't live for your speculation. You can only stand on the truth. And so I hope this is helpful. If you have any questions about this, any thoughts at all, leave some comments down below. Leave a like as well on the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber already. But that's it for today, guys. God bless you. I love you. Peace.